Welcome to WVTC TV Network, capturing family moments in real time, bringing families closer together from the comforts of home. We are unleashing something different to the world. Start your subscription today for the low price of $4.99 per month or $55 annually. Go to www.wvtctvnetwork.com to sign up today. WVTC TV Network is streaming live on 8 different platforms. You can easily download the WVTC TV Network app on the Apple Store, Play Store, Roku, Fire TV, and more. Here at WVTC TV, we have access to movies that everyone can enjoy, including independent films, Sons of a Preacher and a Good Thing, Treasures of Life, the epic drama, The Passion of the Christ, and the box office hit Madagascar Escape to Africa. Remember, go to www.wvtctvnetwork.com and sign up today.
Hey guys, I'm glad to be back. Brian Sewell here, the Mortgage Doctor Show. It's been a little while, so thankful to be back on WVTC Radio. It's such a great opportunity to be able to share and give back. So I'll just start with what the purpose of our show is and why we're jumping back on. There's a lot of false narratives that's out there, and I just truly want to give solid information. It's always about growing, empowering people. You, the consumer, to build wealth, right? And so when I think about what that means, so I used to use the 3 E's and I still do, right? So we're going to educate, encourage you, and empower you. What do those mean, right? In the home ownership world, right? Education is key. So if you know more, you can do better. Thank you, Latrice. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me back. The encouragement piece. So many times we call it, we're rescue lenders sometimes, right? We'll get loans that's been denied, or situations where people feel hopeless because they've been told no, because sometimes they get stuck in a box, right? And saying, "Oh, you're not ready now, so call me back in 2 years." I believe with a plan, anyone will be able to buy a home and build wealth. And I think, when you talk about that, so we talk about education empowerment, I think that, encouragement. I think about when we don't have that knowledge and we don't have the encouragement, you kind of feel like giving up. I don't know if you're like me, but if I feel powerless and I feel in a corner, then I don't have the encouragement to move forward. So, I draw my strength from God, my faith. I'm always open about that. I get that question all the time, just saying that, why are you so open about your faith? Because, there's a scripture that says, if you're ashamed of God before man, I'll be ashamed before my Father, right? So I think it's so important in everything we do that we honor God in it. So we're going to educate you. We're going to encourage you. And that with those two things, we're going to empower you to make sound decisions. And that doesn't mean we're always the right lender for you. I hope most of the time we are. But the key is, the one thing we can promise, we'll never lie to you. I say that to people all the time. It's not sexy, but we won't lie to you, right? That's about having those values. But we're going to give you a lot of stuff. I got an agenda today that I want to go over, and I definitely want to engage with the audience. I love doing this. If you have any questions, please feel free to put those in there and we'll give you. I'm going to talk a little bit. We're doing this to help you become a homeowner. And one step, if you're in the second step, you're buying investment properties. We want to help you to be able to have the right information so you can tackle those hurdles and be able to move forward. So we're going to talk a little bit about the market update, which I'm going to get into that in a minute. Why it's still a good time to buy a home, how the wealth piece comes in there. I got a tool through MBS Highway that I like to use to share what building wealth looks like. We're going to talk about a couple of announcement events we got coming up. Programs of the week, and obviously I'll give you my Super Bowl predictions. I'm gonna have a little fun with you guys at the end. So we got a 30-minute show. We'll be on Thursdays from 9 to 9:30. I'm making a commitment to you. I'd like you to like our page. I'm grateful for the opportunity that I get through Franklin Morris and WVTC to be back here on the radio. So I appreciate if you would share it and like it. We want to have engagement. Also, if you're a realtor, so I've been in the mortgage. So quick background on me, and I'll get to the realtor thing. I've been in the mortgage business for 23 years. So I got in because, literally I love numbers and I love people. And my wife, she's like, "Hey, you should check this out." And this lady was hiring, and I took a chance on it. and never look back. But I always love the numbers prospect of it. And I love being able to solve problems. So when we talk about unveiling things behind the curtain and things like that, and talking about programs, we're going to dive into that stuff and give you good information. So the other thing I do is I coach. So I get asked this question all the time, that what's the one thing you would tell yourself 23 years ago when you first got into business? I would say get a mentor, get a coach. So anything you want to do, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're starting out something new, always have a mentor. I think that's important. So I actually coach with Cindy Earthman and MME, but I've been in various coaching programs over the last 10 years. And I like to share that information because it helps you grow. We don't charge for it. We just give it away free. You just got to implement, right? And I still get coached. So one of the things, if you're an agent, and just reach out to me, I'll give my email out before the end of this, the program. We started a coaching program for agents. On Mondays, we talk about, from 9 to 10, we talk about where you're at in your business, what's some of the challenges you're having. We talk about some of how you accomplish those, get over those challenges, and we talk about the wins. And the reason that we do that, and we'll go through the whole coaching program, we want to help you grow. The thing about being coached weekly, we get coached in everything else. Like for me, I have a pastor that coaches me in spiritually. I have to read my Bible every day to get better at that. If I want to get better in my marriage, which I do, you look marital books, you go to counseling at times, right? Financially, you got to look at your finances on a weekly basis. So that's why we set the coaching up on a weekly basis. It's a commitment, but I truly believe that's made the difference in my business. And I'm going to share that information with you. So that's something we do from 9 to 10. And we're also going to have a program for first-time buyers on February 15th. We're going to be in South Holland at New Life Church, with Jerome Cook as the pastor, and he's also an excellent agent. We're doing a first-time buyer program on that. So I'll get into more of those details later on in the show. So, but getting around to why we're doing this. So the American dream of home ownership, right? It seems so out of reach at times, the affordability issues. There is opportunities for you to do that. Sometimes it's not the right idea to just rush into something. Sometimes you need to look at the whole playbook. What we try to do is give you a true playbook to be able to make a sound decision, and also look at what your true situation is. We hear people, I deal with clients all the time where they're paying $2,000-$3,000 a month in rent. Rent increase has gone up dramatically, where mortgages still stay pretty stable. Even though the values of homes have gone up a lot, you still, even with rates, still historically, they're not that bad. And we expect them to come down. Next year and a half, we'll talk about that. But they're not that bad compared to what rates were, 20 something years ago, 30, 40 years ago. So we'll talk about a little bit of that as well. So staying on the agenda, I'm going to give a quick little bit of market update. So I follow Barry Habib pretty closely. I try to tune in and learn as much as I can. He predicted the crash in 2008. And, I had the opportunity to listen to him last Thursday on a call with Cindy Earthman. And the thing about it is, we're looking at inflation and how all these things are driving. I like to explain inflation very simply. And I'm going to talk to my people for a second. I look at The Barbershop, right? The movie, one of my favorite movies. And he talked about, hey, if you gave everybody $50,000, Cadillac would be out of business. So if we go back to where all that money was being given out, right? And you saw used cars go up in value, which we've never seen that before, which is so crazy. We think about a depreciating asset. So all of those things have a driving factor. And what happened is, because they made all of that money back available to people, and we wasn't wise with the money, you made inflation worse. And so inflation, or simply put, you go to the grocery store, it costs you a lot more, right? The cost of goods costing more. So inflation drives interest rates. And you got to be able to truly understand the inflation part. Is something that we steadily put our hands on and learn. So the cost of goods, things are costing more now, right? To buy a thing of eggs, which you be careful with that too, with the little bird flu that's going around. It's costing $6, $7, $8 when something that used to cost $2 or $3, right? You go to Costco, maybe get a couple dollars off of that. But so when you talk about those things and how inflation drives interest rates, so, I get this question like, hey, the Fed's lowered the rates, but the mortgage rates didn't go down. Doesn't always happen that way. And it really depends on, because a lot of times when rates go down with the Fed, you'll see situations like the banks have already predicted that rate is going to come down. So it's not strictly affected by that. So when we look at things long term, I truly believe, and no one knows for sure, but I know Barry thinks that rates will probably come down, whether it's in the next 6 to 18 months. right? And whether you're seeing low sixes or high fives is what the prediction is. I tend to agree with that. Uh, that would open up huge opportunities for homeowners. Now, some of you guys are saying, let's just wait for that to happen. Well, here's the problem with that. And I'm just going to explain a little bit of the difference between 2008 and now. 2008, we had a surplus of land. We had a lot of builders. They all just stopped building because, the market crashed. And so you had a situation where homes came down in value a little bit because there was too much supply. Guess what? We have very low inventory, guys. So when you have low inventory, even with rates coming down and making those homes more affordable, you have a situation where we have a lot of buyers. I have about 90 buyers, pre-approved buyers right now looking for homes. So for you sellers, you should probably start thinking about putting your house on the market to get some of these buyers in. The problem with the idea of waiting for rates to come down is that if you're at a $300,000 house, right, and you have 2 or 3 buyers looking at that house right now, and let's say rates are at in the high sixes, low sevens right now. When rates come down to low sixes, now you have all those people that's sitting on the fence. They're going to all attack to try to get that one house. Instead of having 1 or 2, you have 10, 15 buyers trying to buy the house. And as a seller, think about it. Are you going to lower your price when you have 10 people trying to buy your house, or are you going to raise it? And that's what's going to happen. So I think it's really important for you to get off the fence and buy, and you can always potentially look at refinancing later on as the rates adjust down. So that's something to think. That's where you get the term marry the house and date the rate. It's kind of cute, right? But that's what that means, right? You lock in on an asset that historically goes up in value, even if you're talking about 3 to 5%, right? In value long term. We build wealth long term. We talk about building wealth. I love that session of it. And this is where I can get really excited. So I think you build homes. Most millionaires hide their wealth in real estate. At one point, there's things in the stock market, but you build wealth in real estate with some stocks. You want to do Bitcoin, do that, talk to your financial advisor, get insurance so you can leave a nice inheritance for your kids, but you build it long term, making strategic decisions. We all want to get better at that, but that's how you build wealth. So when you talk about buying a home, that house, that asset's going to go up in value. And I'm going to show you a screen in a little bit here when we get to that. And then we're going to talk about the program of the week. I'm going to tell you about some other events we got coming up. It's a lot of good stuff coming in. Thank you, Ramon, for having me back. I appreciate you guys. Pastor Charlie, I appreciate you as well. You guys, please share the show. I love engaging, and I love being able to ask your questions, answer your questions. But I hope that makes sense, right? So I got a lot of people that's looking, and sometimes they get discouraged. You don't necessarily find your dream home on the first route out, right? It might take you 2, 3, 4 houses, but at the same time, you're building wealth with those houses. So this is, again, I think you need to get in the game while it's accessible. I'm not saying it won't be accessible 6 months from now, right? Or 10 months from now. It will be, but you'll have more people trying to assess that, and you don't want to get caught behind. And be very careful. You don't want to get caught behind that, because at the end of the day, if you're paying rent, you're throwing money away. So one of the things I want to talk about, and you're going to see me jump on this every week because I think this is such a powerful tool. Again, I'm Brian Swift. No one knows me here. I'm with Guild Mortgage. Been in the mortgage business for 23 years. I just truly love helping people obtain wealth through home ownership. So I want to share this thing on MBS Highway. So we put the information there. This is just a property in Matson. So we're going to show this really quick. What this looks like. It's called a buy versus rent. So for those of you that's saying I'm just going to sit and pay rent, let's slowly come up here. So here, let's go up a little bit. Scroll down a little bit here. So this is a property in Cook County for like $300,000. So if you're talking about selling your property, buying a property and selling within the first year or two, not a good idea, right? You're not going to make any money, right? It's like the same way it's throwing the rent in this situation. But go down a little bit more here. Stop right there. So appreciation gain, and we're going to come up. So what it does is Moody Analytics. What it does is it looks and see what these areas and neighborhoods have done in real estate. So you can see right here, we put Matson in there. It's a suburb here in Illinois that forecasts about 3.43% appreciation. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You've heard, oh, that's not 10%, 5% like it was in 2021. Yeah, this is all about getting long-term investment, building wealth. So if you're paying rent, in which we're going to show that too, how that money gets thrown away, you're not getting that appreciation. So this is telling you over 9 years, you would have made about $106,000. So if you go up a little bit, go back up a little bit. Okay, so over there, what it's saying that if you buy a house for $300,000 in 9 years at a rate of 3.43, your house is going to be worth $148,000 more. Okay, so what you say, where'd you get the $106,000? So let's go down a little bit. All right, so you got $106,000 in appreciation. Okay, You've got an amortization gain of 30,000. Okay, your house would have been worth 406, but you because you're paying down the principal, over 9 years, you've paid about $30,000. Some of you are probably saying, "Man, that's not that much." Well, you can always send extra, and I'll talk a little bit about that. My idea of sending extra, where you want to build a couple of different things before you do that, but you can always send extra. But think about this: if you're paying rent right now, you're just all of it's going towards someone else's mortgage or profit. So the tax benefits, this is assuming you're about 22%. So it's saying your standard deduction of 29,000. Then we got the cost of sale of 4%. Think of that if you sell your real estate and closing costs at 6,000 and sell your real estate at 16,000 in 9 years, you would have made, go down a little bit, come down a little bit more. Oh, go back up. Sorry. That's where I messed that up. We changed the thing. Go up all the way up a little bit more. Sorry. All the way up. You would have made a little bit more. All the way up. 148,000, a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. 148,000 in 9 years. That's your net gain by buying a home. So because of that, and that's what that's including, is that appreciation at 3.4%. It's including you paying down your principal, right? At minimum, just making the regular payments like if you're paying rent. And this is including you selling your property. You could decide to hold on to it, and sit on that equity. I go down a little bit more for me though. I want to talk about this rent. So this is going to show you what the average rent gain is on this. So this is assuming a higher interest rate of 7.5 too. We're not that high, but annual rental increases are almost 6%. You see where it says 5.9%? Total rents in 9 years, you would have been paying about 333,000. If you purchased a home, you would have paid 299,000 in payments. The cash flow difference is about 33,000, almost 34. So it's cheaper for you to rent in this case. It's better. I'm sorry, to buy. It's cheaper for you to buy. But again, out of that 333,000, and not to get complicated math on you guys, that's money that's just going out the window. That's being thrown away. So think about it like this. Yes, you're at a 3.4% appreciation on average, and no one knows exactly. It could be up higher than that at times, right? There's different things that shock the market and increases value, but you get the write off the interest and you get the write off the property taxes, and the value of your home generally goes up. So it's a safety net that you build wealth. This is how you build wealth long term. So we're talking 148,000. That may not seem like a lot of money, but if you're paying rent, you're throwing away 333,000 in this instance. Okay, I wanted to share a little about that, but this is how I can put a little plan together depending on where you're living, and we can do this every week. We're going to spend a few minutes on this because I think this is so important, because we don't look at the numbers only. We just wet tissue and throw it up against the wall, say, hey, we got a place to live. I've had people that's been renting for 20 plus years. That money's just going out the window and not even thinking about it. So this is how you build wealth. That's one way of doing it. Let's go back on the screen though. So thank you for sharing that for us. So we're doing good on time, right? We talked about the market update. I want to talk to you about some of these events we got coming up, programs of the week. So anybody got any questions about what I said there? Just making sure we don't have any questions coming in. So the thing that we hear a lot of, and this is why people are not buying. There's usually a couple of reasons. And I'm just going to speak right to the first-time buyers. I love helping first-time buyers. We love helping move up buyers and all that stuff too. But it's an affordability issue. So they can't afford it. They don't have the down payment. The credit is not great. So we're going to talk in person. So guys, if you want to come out to South Holland and see us on the 15th, please do. We're going to give you some information on that. So when you think about, well, that depends, Latrice. I'll get to that in a second. Do you think it's a good time to refinance? But when you think about that, well, and I'm going to tell you why it may be a good time for you to refinance, especially when we talk about debt consolidation and all that stuff. Buying a home, though, right now, give it about our merger with Guild 2 years ago. So we're the #1 first-time buyer lender in the country, and because of that, we have over 1,000 programs. I'm going to talk to you specifically, and not all today, but over time, over the next 4 or 5 weeks, about these 11 programs that we have. That's a couple of them are exclusive to Guild. Like we have a program with Home Depot where we market with you to where you get a little bit of down payment assistance. And then also you get a $2,000 gift card to Home Depot to help you be able to purchase a home after that. Until we prove the home. So that's a program. We're going to talk more about these weekly. We have a program that gives you $6,000 for down payment assistance. No question asked. It's completely forgivable. We have all the zero down program. We have all of these programs that's very creative to help you get into a home. But when we talk about the down payment that's needed, we have IDAs, bond loans. In some instances, you need 1% down. Some instances, you can do 3.5% down. Some instances, you can do 3% down. A lot of people think conventional is 20% down. It's really not. There's instances where we can have the seller pay your closing costs, right? That happens a lot depending on the area. If it's something that we see a lot of in different areas. Some areas they don't do it as much, but you can negotiate that, have your agent be able to negotiate that in there, and you'll be able to buy a home without having to come up with a lot of money. We have situations where you can stack down payment assistance program, which again, I always say look at the terms, because there are situations where you may think that it's a great grant, but your rate is much higher. So look at the terms, look at what your payment's going to be, how much you need to close, how long do I have to stay in the property. A lot of times people don't look at that. So let's go back to Latrice's question, if it's a good time to refinance. And I would say it depends. So if you're in a situation, let's say you're in a 4% interest rate on a mortgage, right? So that would have been you purchased maybe 5-6 years ago, whatever it was, and you never refinance. If you have 20%, 18% credit card debt of 50, 60, 80,000, that, I mean, maybe it's not that much, that your payment and you're struggling, it's like a noose, right? It's a yoke. We talk about God said his yoke is easy and my burden is light. But the yoke of the world of the debt, it's a burden, right? It makes you feel like a slave. That's what yoke stands for. Like it's like, right? So that's a yoke on you financially. So can we put you in a situation where you might get, I don't know, a 6.5, 6.75, and yes, your rate went up 2%, which you can deduct the interest, talk to your accountant. And we get rid of those 20% credit cards. And so your cash flow, I've done that plenty of times for people. You've gone down from having to pay $1,000 in debt. So now that's gone down. You can still get aggressive if you want to on your mortgage, paying down your mortgage, and you get those benefits, the tax benefits. If you're in a situation where you're in the 2s and 3s, we might be hesitant to do that. I know some lenders say, no, just look at the numbers, it makes sense. Well, I don't think we'll ever see 2s and 3s interest rates again. But again, if you're in a situation where it's a yoke, right? I say, let's look at the plan. I'm not going to tell you to do it or not to do it. I'm like, let's look at the numbers like we just did, right? We looked at a situation, what equity looks like, and let's make sense out of it. I'm never going to wet tissue and throw it up against the wall. I'm never going to tell you to just say, jump in with it. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I turned my ringer off. I will never do that. And so I think it's important that when we look at doing a plan for you, that we look at all the scenarios. Some instances, it may make sense for you to wait a little bit. Some instances, it makes sense. You know what? This is too big of a yoke. Let's get you out of the pain, and then we'll look at potentially refinancing you later. So I think it's nothing wrong with looking under the hood without feeling the pressure to do that. That's what makes us a little different. The other thing I would say is, we have certain programs that you can use that help. So like you need to do home improvement, make your house more valuable, right? When you want to sell it. There are situations where, depending on where you live, that the rates might reduce. We have a couple community lending programs. So let's say, for example, I've been able to get people, now it's changed because rates went up a little bit, probably the mid to low 6s, depending on what that looks like, right? Which is not that terrible of a rate. And if you live in a certain community, I mean, and I'll just name it now, Matson's on there, Homewood Flossom was on there. There's parts in Chicago that's on there. You get a discount. And all that is just you're getting a discount on the rate. And it's a conventional product, but it's something you could do compared to paying, again, 15, 20, 30% in credit card debt that you want to attack. And, I think America's at an all-time high when it comes to credit card debt. I will say this too, though. We're also at an all-time high comes to equity and value. I think there was a stat that said the average American has almost 50% in equity, which is crazy, right? To think about that. So the economy has rebounded. So if you didn't purchase a home, so don't feel like you can't catch up to that. You just have to get in the game and stop sitting by the fence. Hope I answered that question. I know it was long-winded there. No problem, Ash. I love helping out. I want to give you guys true facts, good information, and we always happy to help. So I want to get into a little bit of the program of the week, and then I'm gonna have some fun with y'all. What time is that? Oh, I got a few minutes. Cool. So anybody got any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm happy to help. So really quick, before I get into the program of the week. So we are doing a first-time buyer program with Jerome Cook at 16500 Woodlawn in South Holland. It's at New Life Church, February 15th. I will put the flyer on my page shortly, but we're going to be talking about, we're getting pre-approved on the spot. I'll have some of my teammates there. Bring in your documents, 30 days of pay stubs, bring in a bank statement, bring in your W-2s for the last 2 years. If you're self-employed, you might need 2 years tax returns. There's situations where we can help you out without needing that, depending on if we're doing one of our no ratio loans or DSCR loans. But I'd love for you to come by South Holland and just come see us. I'll be there in person, uh, helping out. So that's going to be on February 15th. And I'll give you the time because I didn't do that. See, I'm special here. Let's see. So yeah, so that's going to be, I believe it's at 9 o'clock, but let me just double check. I apologize, guys. Yeah, it is on. No, it's from 11 to 1. Sorry, February 15th from 11 to 1 at 16500 Woodlawn East Avenue in South Holland. So come out on February 15th, meet the team, meet me. I'll be there, and we'll help you out with becoming homeowners. So the other thing, the other thing, they're going to have credit guys there to go over credit tips. I'm going to talk about the financing, avoiding common mistakes, how to partner up with a good agent. So Jerome will be talking about that. So it's going to be a cool event. We're also going to be doing a pretty big event in April. We're going over how we help Black and Brown and millennials get into homeowners. So become homeowners. So one of the cool things, Nora Guerrera, who was one of the top people at Freddie Mac, she joined Guild at about 90 days plus days ago. And she's got some programs, special programs we're using to help you become a homeowner. So grants, we're going to talk about down payment assistance. We're going to give you all that stuff. I'll talk a little bit about it on the 15th. We got a big event coming up in April. So I want you guys to come out to that as well. And lastly, realtors. I think I talked about this briefly, and then I'm gonna get into my fun predictions here, is the coaching. Mondays, 9 to 10, every Monday. We just love on you. We coach what you're dealing with, what you're winning, and it's accountability. So we do that. So if you're an agent and you want to grow your business, we're doing that Mondays from 9 to 10. We started this past Monday. It's not too late to get into that. We're reading this book called Fanatical Prospecting. So it's, again, and that's, guys, if you're in any business you want to always sharpen your tools to be able to get better. So we got a couple more minutes, right? Yes, I get to have fun. So my prediction of the Super Bowl, and guys that know me, y'all know I'm a pretty big fan of my boy Patrick Mahomes, right? So I'm having some fun with this. So look, here's the thing. This is why I like him. Some people say they're tired of him, tired of winning. Man, I grew up in Chicago, man. I love greatness. And I just remember all those Jordan years and those championships, those three-peats, 2 3-peats, right? And so I think in the football world, he's the closest thing we've seen to Michael Jordan. He makes it fun. So when we talk about seeing that, you never know what's going to happen. But when you see the quarterback throw behind the back passes, left hand throws, it's fun, man. It's fun watching that. So I got my homeboy, the Chiefs, winning. I got them winning 30-27. That's my prediction. So have a little fun. I've had this jersey forever, so it's not a come lately. But no, guys, I really enjoy doing these shows. I mean, at the end of the day, we get to help. I enjoy spending time with people who have different guests on at times. But we're going to do this from 9 to 9:30 every Thursday. Jump in if you are interested in becoming a homeowner and you're just nervous about it. Just call us. You can call us directly. It's all private. We don't share that information. What if you need help with credit? Absolutely. We got credit people we work with. I mean, we'll analyze it first because sometimes it's not as bad as you think, and it can get updated with a couple of steps, right? Paying down some bills, things like that. And then we get refer you to some people that do credit help. I had a guy named Jim Drowski that used to do a lot of that for us. He would come in. I'm going to have him come by the station. I think, Franklin, you met him once. Gave a lot of good information. So I'll have him talk about that as well. So, no, it's not, whether you're dealing with credit, income, we'll figure out a plan and put a budget together to help you build wealth. And I'd love to be a part of that. So I hope you can come in every week. So, the best way to get a hold of us. So you either can call us directly at 630-352-0629. Our website is mytrustedprovider.com. Again, mytrustedprovider.com. I've had that site forever. And I promise you'll get a fair shake. So we'll love on you. And that's one of the things I have. I want people to get educated, teach them about building wealth, help them become homeowners, but you're going to get a fair shake and you're going to feel God's love when you deal with us, right? It's not going to just be something thrown together and, people look at you as like a number. We won't do that. Care too much, right? I care, I don't care what background you came from. We're going to show you, we can give you proper treatment and give you a fair shake and get you help you build wealth. So give us a shot, 630-352-0629. Or on our website, mytrustedprovider.com. I hope to hear from you. I will add the page for the first time buyer program that's coming up next Saturday. God bless you. I'll talk to you next week.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communication Station.